Hello and welcome to yet another video on ACCA series. And today we're going to talk about expert tips to crack AA examination in ACCA. I am CA Paresh Gupta, founder of GCEC Global Foundation, and I do teach ACCA with a lot of passion. So शुरू करते हैं आज का वीडियो जहां पर हम बात करेंगे ACCA के एग्जाम फॉर्मेट की और AA एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग एग्जाम है बिकॉज दिस इज योर फर्स्ट एग्जाम जहां पर आप थ्योरी लिखोगे, राइट? सो लॉट ऑफ थ्योरी. दिस इज वन ऑफ दोज स्किल लेवल पेपर्स जहां पर आपको बहुत सारी थ्योरी लिखनी है एज कंपेयर टू ऑल अदर सब्जेक्ट्स वेयर एमसीक्यूज आर मोर, थ्योरी इज लेस. इन दिस पेपर a lot of theory comes, so we have to be very cautious about this. Let's start as my first tip. My first tip is about exam format. अंडरस्टैंडिंग एग्जाम फॉर्मेट जितना दिखने में आसान दिखता है उतना आसान है नहीं, बिकॉज बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग एग्जाम फॉर्मेट है. दो सेक्शन है, सेक्शन ए और सेक्शन बी. फर्स्ट सेक्शन कंप्राइजेस ऑफ 3 केस स्टडीज. ये केस स्टडीज है, एमसीक्यू स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है. सो व्हाइल देयर केस स्टडीज विथ 5 ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप क्वेश्चंस, दिस इज टेक्निकली कंप्राइजिंग ऑफ 10 marks each for these case studies, technically 30 marks for the entire paper. And the remaining section B is 3 scenario based questions, 20, 20 and 30. So this is the format of this. तो ये 70 नंबर का क्वेश्चन है जो पूरी तरह से डिस्क्रिप्टिव है. केवल 30 मार्क्स का आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव पेपर है. यू हैव टू नाउ स्टार्ट थिंकिंग कि कौन से वाले क्वेश्चन पे कितना टाइम देना चाहिए. आयरॉनिकली ये जो केस स्टडीज हैं वो काफी टाइम खा जाती है, राइट? सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी स्मार्टली थिंकिंग अबाउट व्हाट टू डू एंड हाउ टू गो अबाउट दिस. लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट टिप. The most important thing, because it's a theory paper, is this term called verbs. I have spoken about this in other videos also, but we'll discuss about ACCA verbs. And एक specific document है released by ACCA which talks about ACCA verbs. What are these verbs? जो सबसे बड़ी गलती बच्चे करते हैं वो ये है कि आपका जो क्वेश्चन है उसमें जो पूछा गया है और जो आप आंसर करते हो वो मिसमैच करता है. And this happens because you do not understand these verbs. So for ACCA, explain is different from describe. Describe is different from discuss. And you should be able to distinguish between these 3 terms which are the most frequently used and other terms also. So आप ACCA की वेबसाइट पे जाइए, ACCA verbs को चेक करिए और उन हर एक verb का मीनिंग यूज करिए. इस वीडियो में हम ये तीनों verbs को डिस्कस करेंगे. What do they mean? Now, explain. Make an idea clear. Show logically how a concept is developed and give the reason for an event. Explain. Explanation followed by reason. अगर reason नहीं है तो explanation नहीं है. So you have to make an idea by giving reasons. That is your keyword for the word explain. Describe. Describe means give a detailed account or key features, list characteristics, qualities and parts. Word क्या keyword important है? List, features and parts. You have to define the features and parts of the entire process to explain, describe. Distinguish between explain, idea and reason is explanation. Describe, put down in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. List the things. This is what is description. And recommendation. This is a high order level question which judges कि आपकी ability क्या है recommend करने की. This is like a real consultant skill where you have to give recommendation, advice. You have to give advice, do this or not do this. This is the most important thing in terms of the action point. So this is what you have done. Describe the problem and advice. So then you give the advice what is to be done. So this is very, very important. Let's move to the next factor, time management. What is a time management strategy? Now, for most cases, I always suggest a multiplier of 1.8 minutes. What do we mean by 1.8 minute multiplier? For a 100 marker question paper, you get 180 minutes. So 1.8 minute multiplier of 1 mark each. By this, you get 54, 36 and 54 per question. But the recommendation that I give is actually spend a little more in your section A because it does take time. You have to spend a little more time and you have to read very, very carefully. These 2 questions you can probably cut down a bit of time and probably leave 10 minutes for revision also. So you would probably want to do 30, 30 and 50 and 60 here. This is a specific way of solving this paper in a timely manner. Keep a watch, keep a clock ticking, keep your numbers clicking. If you feel that the question is taking more time, move on and don't spend too much time on doing this. So this is possible and you have to increase your typing speed. please work on typing. So you have to constantly work on your typing skills to be able to crack this examination. Let's move to the next strategy. Syllabus. Now, why do I give the syllabus diagram? To say which topics are most important and be able to understand how to go about doing this entire paper. Now, there are two major points which are very important in audit. One is test of control and the other one is substantive procedure. Now, these are two important topics and areas which is what comprises of almost 70-80% of the question paper. Now, you would usually get the longer question on this only, right? Indicated by these two topics, audit evidence and internal control. I would definitely give this my priority 1, this my priority 2, and then I would go with priority 3. I would go with a priority 4, priority 5 and priority 6 as usual. This is standard for all examination, but please spend a lot of time on understanding the processes, be it control, be it substantive procedures, both parts. Think about how does a process work. Classic processes that you should know: payroll process, receivable process, payable process, asset verification process, and probably a bit of cash flow cycles. If you do these processes, you should understand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the primary processes that have to be done, and put internal control and audit evidence for these two areas. You should be able to crack almost 70-80% of the question paper. There is one question on risk for sure. Usually you also get an MCQ case study on ethics and one case study about reporting and how to do the audit report and what to write, what not to write. So this is exactly how this question paper looks like. Let's move to the next topic. Target setting. What should be a target to pass? Section A, target 20 marks out of 30 marks. And then section B, 40 marks. Section A, you do a case study. I'm talking of getting 2 case studies right. If you get 2 full case studies right, you're getting full 20 marks. And that is a possibility. Good part about these questions would be, you do a case study, 1 full case study, full questions. Most of the questions will be solved. So you will not get them in parts. So target 2 good case studies. Third case study, bonus marks. Section B is where the majority will lie. 70 marker section B. You have to start getting at least 40 marks, and definitely for writing theory, improve your grammar, improve your writing skills to get more marks in this. So that is my strategy for passing marks. Writing skills. Now this is going to be the most important tip that I have for AA. 1. Avoid restating the question. Very classic problem. Actually, lot of students make this mistake. They just copy paste from the case study. They have been given a question which is to identify the risk. Then they just copy paste the point. Identification does not mean just putting them down from the case study. You have to put it and not just rewording it. So you just don't have to change the English. You have to identify the risk as which has been asked, or identify the drawback, or identify, so mention that there is a risk of this. So this is happening. Based on this, there is a risk of this. That is what is called identification. So re-repeating anything which is quoted from the question paper gets you 0 marks. And second part is be concise. Do not try to be verbose. Do not have to write stuffs. Be specific. Write specific answers. Ask with as much clarity as you can. You get full marks in AA. So this is possible. I have created multiple merit holders in this paper also. So you have to be very clear. Now be specific. These are examples of the mistakes that people write. For example, lot of students write risk of misstatement. What is the risk of misstatement? You have to specify and say there is a risk of overstatement of non-current assets if it is possible. So you just can't say everything is a risk of misstatement only. तो इसमें तो कुछ डिफरेंस ही नहीं आएगा ना. अगर आप ये नहीं बताते हो कि किस चीज का मिसस्टेटमेंट हो रहा है, उसका कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. So you have to say risk of misstatement. No, you have to say risk of overstatement of this. This can be even improved. So risk of overstatement of non-current assets, or property, plant and equipment could be overstated. If you can actually get down to non-current asset के अंदर भी property, plant and equipment overstate होंगे. Even more precise and clearly stated. So this would get full marks. This will get a little less than this. This would definitely get nothing. So you have to be very, very crisp in your answers. Another example, physical verification of existence of additions. Physical verification कर लो भाई. ये suggestion है, recommendation है. बट किसके अगेंस्ट करना है, कैसे करना है? सो यू हैव टू से फिजिकल वेरिफिकेशन ऑफ एग्जिस्टिंग ऑफ एडिशंस अगेंस्ट द नॉन करंट एसेट रजिस्टर। भाई साहब, सो आप नॉन करंट एसेट पकड़िए, रजिस्टर दीजिए, उसको फिजिकल एसेट से वेरीफाई करिए, तब फिजिकल वेरिफिकेशन कंप्लीट माना जाएगा, अदरवाइज दिस इज नॉट। सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी स्पेसिफिक विथ योर वर्डिंग्स, अदरवाइज यू आर मेकिंग नो मार्क्स इन डबल ए। लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट वन. My pro tips: practice on ACCA practice platform. There are a lot of times that people practice it on a different platform. They practice on Word documents or other technology platforms, and they have not used practice platform. They do definitely get flustered because they would have probably used some element of an editor which you would have, tried to do, and it is not available in the actual examination. You feel lost. Second part is presentation. Very important. There are 20% marks for professional presentations in ACCA. आपका presentation कैसा है, आपने order लिखा है कि नहीं लिखा है, जब आप letter लिख रहे हो, report लिख रहे हो, to the director of this company, subject, dear sir, what is the salutation, आपने start कैसे किया अपना पूरा process, वो बहुत important है. So structuring your document, structuring your answer is going to be very, very critical. Getting stuck happens a lot of time. नहीं समझ आ रहा है यार, इतने सारे क्वेश्चंस की चीज में इतना इतना कुछ है, यहाँ पे टाइम कम बच रहा है, you don't know what to do. Very, very important to write the headings, write one line and move on. That's number one. If you get stuck, stay calm, just read the question carefully, try to think कि क्या हो सकता है, आपको जो समझ में आता है एक बार उसको बुलेट पॉइंट डाल के छोड़ दो. Leave it, do not waste time. So if you waste time, then you will be stuck, and that is going to be a detriment for the entire question paper. And the last thing is read carefully. Very important. Read the question very, very, very carefully. Reading the question is 50% battle won. So अगर आपने case study ढंग से पढ़ ली, समझ ली, आपका question वैसे ही solved है, then all you need is translate it into a writing document. So that's it. This is all. If you do, you will be able to crack ACCA AA exam like a pro. And to get more such tips, and if you want to know more about such examinations, please keep subscribing to my channel, please keep liking us, please putting in your comments, and we look forward to your feedback. Thank you so much. All the best and stay tuned.